So today we're going to be continuing to take a look at a scenario where civilization starts over. We are back with your favorite and also my favorite series that we have ever done on this channel, and we are now on episode 19 of this series. Today we are going to be exploring uncolonized land in America. The age of exploration has long been kicked off, but it is now being ramped up with hostilities around the world starting to cool down. Quebec is subject to investigation in terms of colonization. That made no sense at all. I will never say that again. But this large area is all explored, and the exploration people start to move west. Of course, the Mississippi River is around this area. They explore all of that, and there's just a ton of rivers in general. So exploring this part of America is fairly easy because there's no one there, and other than the wildlife, there is nothing there. Slowly but surely, the Europeans make their way across America. And eventually word gets out that, hey, Korea is right there. So Korea and the Dutch team, two countries who have never interacted before, will make an agreement to meet up in this part of Canada. And now it's time for the funky stuff. It happened in real life, and unfortunately, it's going to be happening here. These two countries are going to make an agreement. Part of the agreement is A, Korea gets everything over here up to where they met with the brown team. And part B is that the Dutch team gets everything else. Ah, yes. America. These are just claims, they're not actual colonies, so just calm down for a second. But at this point, America is finally filled in, and more of it can be explored, and eventually over time, almost all of the continent is discovered. Not all of it though, some of it is a little bit too harsh to explore as of right now. But the world's priorities are of course figuring out what else is out there, and eventually another country will explore and find themselves in South Africa. This is not South Africa, this is South America. Sometimes I question my brain and why it works the way it does. But the country that has founded this part of South America is none other than the African Blue Team, which is an interesting country indeed, but they are a top power in the world if you remember the power rankings from the last episode, so this isn't too far-fetched. But now the word is out, there's a whole other continent out there south of North America, and people of course are going to want to colonize it, but not too quickly though. In the Caribbean, the Dark Cyan team will go ahead and take over the rest of Cuba as well as the Bahamas. They would discover the chain of islands which are in the South Atlantic. I don't remember what they're called, but eventually the Dark Cyan team will land in South America and set up a colony on the northern coast of Venezuela. The green team will make an agreement with the brown team to go ahead and extend their claim over to the Great Lakes over here, so that now all becomes part of the green team. And they will also go ahead and extend their colony up north. I wasn't joking when I said the age of exploration was kicking off big time in this episode, but Korea is now heavily invested in the North American continent. Remember, they just lost a pretty big war in the last episode, got their land reduced heavily, and honestly now they have just kind of went into isolationism and are fully just, sending all of their supplies and resources into their colonial program, which is taking place in Alaska and the Pacific Northwest. The brown team will make a colonial landing in Greenland and start taking over some of the coastal areas over here. Eventually they meet up with the border of the red team, who was caught off guard by this, but they don't really care because Greenland doesn't have too much to offer for now. Little do they know, there's oil, and the expansion isn't just happening over in North America, it's also happening over here in Australia. The lime team will take more and more of these Indonesian islands, and they will also set up the first colony in Australia, and this is kind of a big point for the series because now, at this point, there is a country on every single continent. Now, of course, not every single continent is filled in. As you can see, there's still a lot of empty space in Asia, as well as a lot of empty space in Africa. But that is mostly due to the fact that these countries aren't strong enough to expand, and there isn't too much to expand for, especially over here in the center Sahara. This dark red country will do a little bit of expanding on the coast, but these guys are kind of cut off from the world, so they're not super strong or super stable. I mean, surely there won't be a scramble for Africa in this series, right? I mean, that won't happen. Anyway, let's go ahead and take a quick break from all of the colonial expansion and focus in on Central Asia, where in the last episode we saw a lot of things happen here. The green team just exploded, and we were left with three new countries, the brown, the yellow, and the blue team. And remember, I said these guys all hate each other severely. Not a lot of love happening over here. But what makes this even more interesting is that some of these countries are not very stable. Of course, they got their independence, and there was a general consensus within that, hey, we don't want to be part of the green team government, so let's split apart from that. So they did that, and they formed their own country, right? But then they never really settled on an exact way of how they want to rule their new country and what ideology they want to subscribe to. So we are left with civil war. Guys, I don't know what color to use. There's literally every single color in this area. There's red, orange, yellow, green, blue, and purple sort of in this. So I don't know what to do. Let's try a gray color. I think that would actually be kind of cool. So a very large portion of the blue team, in fact half of it, will split away from the central government. And this group of provinces, of course, are not in favor of said government. And a civil war will, of course, and then like I said, a civil war will break out between the two. The gray team takes a lot of land at first, but eventually the government will get its stuff together, which is something that I've been saying a lot recently. And they will start pushing back against the gray team. Not so fast though, because the yellow team has something to say about this, and they start pushing into the dark blue territory. And with the two-front war happening to the new country, they are unable to handle it. The revolutionaries start kicking in again, and more provinces this time are very against what is the blue team, so yeah, they kind of get wrecked. The remainders of the government will agree to peace, and a peace treaty will be crafted. And said peace treaty will look something like this, so the yellow team gets bigger, and the gray team, which looks like some kind of virus that is attacking the blue team, will get a few more provinces when they initially started with, because like I said, a few of them broke away once the war had gotten out of hand for the blue team. As for capital cities, we'll look at the trade routes and we'll plop their capital right here. All right, so that is our Central Asia update. Time for our daily Britain update. The Lime team will start moving troops up into the blue team. And remember, the blue team has been fairly expansionist, as well as the Lime team. The brown team will jump in on the scenario and take some land away from where the blue team is. The orange team will then invade the blue team from the top, and the blue team is split in two, and Britain is left with only 3 countries. Not too much happening for our daily Britain update today. But now we move over to Scandinavia, where not much has ever happened. The Swedish team will go ahead and move troops into a green team land. Now, the reason they're doing this is to, of course, connect up better with their own claims. Now, the issue with this is that they're invading green team land. So, of course, the green team is going to respond. They will start invading areas of the Swedish team, and they are stronger than the Swedish team in general. So they split them in two, take their northern area, and eventually the two sides will agree to peace, which is kind of surprising considering that these guys are fairly chaotic. In this peace treaty, we can see that the green team, of course, gained land. They also expanded upon their disgustingness. It's a little bit more clean, but this still is here, so it's not the best. Maybe the orange team will suffer something and disappear, who knows. Now we're going to head over to Southeast Asia, where the Vietnamese team will continue to expand. Remember, in the last episode, they were expanding in order to kind of try to set up their own influence. It didn't really work because there's no like small countries to influence. It's just big powers. I mean, they could attempt to influence these two guys, but they're under the influence of the Chinese team and the Lime team. So good luck fighting and winning for that. But they do expand into more of Central Asia, which prompts the blue team to also expand more to try to stop them from doing so. Remember, the Lime team told the blue team to do this to stop the Vietnamese team from expanding anymore. And they're not fighting, I'm just trying to fix their border. Or at least make it look like kind of not straight and weird. That's okay. I think this border is throwing it off. And I do want to say real quick, I do have an idea for a pretty big project that I could work on, and it's essentially taking the series that I've done and making them into an animated mapping series. So like conventional mapping. It would be a very big project and it would take very many weeks, but I have done stuff like that before and it has turned out pretty well, so it's maybe something that I'm interested in doing. Let me know if you would be interested in that. It would be kind of like a big animated movie. Anyway, these countries over here, which have not done anything and are fairly weak, will now start to move themselves upwards into the Siberian regions, which are harsh and uninhabited. Uninhabited? Oh, something like that. Basically, nobody living here, and time for people to live here. The world is experiencing kind of a mini population boom, and that goes for every single country, even like the ones that are less developed. So these guys will move themselves up north. The Dark Cyan team will also move themselves up north, going into what is Siberia. And now we have a new country forming. It's been a while since a new country just kind of appeared, but we have a group of people who are from these surrounding countries here coming together to form a new country in Central Asia. This is kind of where Xinjiang is in real life, and it's kind of it's a fairly big country, and it's not just a few people, it's hundreds of thousands of people. This is like a big movement, and it kind of has to do with religion, so we're introducing that to the series now. Religion has of course been an established thing in these nations for hundreds of years, but it's never been to the point where it has directly affected any like major country or political movement or breakaway or anything like that until now. I guess you could say the Holy Cities Alliance was kind of like that, but that was kind of more like a ancestral thing than it was a religion thing, like a heritage thing. I don't know. This is religious though. They want out of these countries and into this one. And in this country, religious freedom is not allowed, and they have to subscribe to the specific branch of religion, which is, I don't know, probably something that stems from the green team, of course. Now, I don't want to say that the first 5 or so countries were all religious groups, because that wouldn't make too much sense since they all stem from the same place. But in a way, you could look at that culturally, and you could look at that maybe religiously as well. Like, obviously the Middle East would all be under the same religion because of the red team and their vast empire. Culturally though, it would be a little bit different. You would have red culture, which would be pretty much all of this. Then you would have blue culture down here. You would have some purple culture up in here. Of course, the yellow team's culture would be all over the place up here. So maybe that's something we can do for a video. We can break down the cultures and the religions and stuff like that. I would have to do that in its own video just because it would be so much. There'd be a lot of explaining and there'd be a lot of research that I'd have to do back in the old videos to figure all that out. That is certainly something we could start to touch up on. Anyway, back to this new country here. It doesn't have any relations on the outside, so it will attempt to make relations on the outside. They will plot their capital over here, and instead of trying to become friends with the Lime team, they will attempt to become friends with the Chinese team. And the reason they want to do that is because they want a trade route going through their country. These guys are pretty smart. They see the outlook on things. They see the long run as a part of a factor of their country. A lot of countries don't really think about that and they just do short-term stuff. But in the long run, the red team wants the trade routes to go right through them. And they're willing to work with pretty much any country to achieve that. But in their mind, they believe that they should be the crossroads of Central Asia. And this is their plan for trade routes, something like this. Now, of course, it doesn't have to be exactly like this, but this is around about what they believe should be the case. And with their country being the center, China is okay with this because it means more trade going through them. Countries that wouldn't be okay with this would be the ones over here on this branch. That kind of diverts trade away from them. But at the same time, it could also make trade a lot faster. You could just go through Central Asia as opposed to going all the way around now. So there's really no one opposed to this, but there's not a lot of people in favor of it other than the Chinese country. And the Lime team does enjoy the fact that in order to trade with Southeast Asia, you have to go through them. So they're not exactly on board with it. And that's part of the reason why the red team wanted to be friends with the Chinese country. Anyway, going over to Europe now. Why is there a blob right here? I don't know why there's a blob right here. We're gonna get rid of that. It kind of messed up the border of the green team. But over here, we will have an event happening, which not much happens over here. But this white team will start to invade the orange team here. Now, I'm gonna be honest, I don't exactly remember if the orange team was guaranteed independence by anybody. I don't think it was. But the white team once ruled over it and they will re-annex it here, and the Triangle Alliance will not react to this because they simply don't care enough. The orange team wasn't a part of their alliance at all. They just kind of freed them, and now they're gone. Anyway, staying on the topic of this country here, they will also participate in colonization. They're going to send a boat over into what they hope is America, but end up landing in Newfoundland. So they will set up a colony there, taking over the entire island. It's kind of very hard to see, so I'm going to be darkening their country just a little bit. But yeah, they set up a colony over here, and slowly but surely over time they take more and more of this North American Canadian area, now moving up into New Brunswick and sending up what is probably a very lovely colony. We will also see the red team country in Ireland make a little bit of a landing in Quebec, and eventually over time this landing becomes a whole full-fledged colony that is fairly large. They also expand their claims in Greenland and explore a little bit more north. Anyway, that will do it for today's civilization video. A lot happened in this episode, and if you did enjoy it, make sure to leave a like on it, subscribe to the channel if you're new, because all of that support is greatly appreciated. We're trying to get to 150,000 subscribers soon. We're at 149,000 more, around 900 more. We'll probably hit it when I'm on vacation, if we're lucky, and if you guys are motivated enough. At that point, we'll be halfway to 200K, which was our goal for the end of the year. It might still be. That's asking for kind of a lot, though, so we'll see. And yeah, so I just want to say thank you guys again for the support. Make sure to stay tuned on the community tab. I say a lot of things there that might pertain to the channel, such as upcoming streams that might happen soon. Who knows? So yeah, stay tuned, and I'll see you guys in the next video. And of course, thank you to all the super fans. This includes Kylie Speaks Plays, German Edits, A Random Guy, Patrick Clauser, Life Lamau, JB Countryball 12, Friaza, Hammertoad 45, CTG Canada Flag, Poland Country Ball, Nevada Garbage Trucks, Yakko, DW Cool Dude, and Serminator. Thank you guys.